My name's Ronell. I have been in Dubai coming up to 7 years now, August 2019. I've been an Arsenal fan. I can't remember the exact year, but I wasn't really into football. And I remember watching Ian Wright score a goal and he did the bogle. So whatever year that was in, that was the moment. And I saw that. And my dad, who's a Liverpool fan, was very disappointed because that just got me. And then from that day forward, I was an Arsenal fan. I want to say it was 94, something like that. But yeah, since then, a very long time. It's been a lot of immediate returns from when I became an Arsenal fan. And then there was obviously a very long period. But yeah, it's been an Arsenal fan for a very long time now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Tom?
Hey, my name's Tom. I've been an Arsenal fan for probably around the same time. If I'm really honest, the first games I can remember playing have always been under Wenger. So it was similar. I can remember Ian Wright. I remember winning the league in 97, 98. That was my real big kind of bring into Arsenal. I can remember Nicolas Anelka as like a young, talented, quick, powerful, strong, just all-round kind of dynamo of a centre forward. And that's kind of my memory. But if I'm really honest, there's one game which I knew would ruin the rest of my life. My dad's a United supporter. My uncle is an Arsenal fan. So I remember going to his house, because he had Sky, to watch Arsenal Man United early in the season. I think it was like October. And it was the famous Henry flick on the edge of the box. Past Dennis Owen, over in the top corner over Barthez. And that, for me, was... I can remember sitting in the leather chair with like slightly rubbed out arms and sitting there thinking, there's never going to be a better footballing moment than this as a kid. And I still remember that feeling as an adult. So
that celebration.
That whole time for me was, and that was it. That's when I knew the beginning of the rest of my life would start.
I'm showing my age because I thought you were going to say Overmars in the season 97, 98. Yeah. That for me as well. I remember that, and that should be like, oh my God, this team that I've chosen are going to win the league. It was amazing. Yeah.
Well, for me, it was just anti-Man United.
And that. Well, that was that's what we had, right?
It was
just, you would go to school and you would argue with your United fans, and that was kind of all you had.
Yeah.
Liverpool would kind of get involved, but they were relics because no one at school knew what Liverpool winning meant back then anyway.
I used to go to a youth club in my area, and I remember we used to do Arsenal fans versus Man United fans, like after an Arsenal Man United game, and then so we would recreate it then back on the football pitch. Yeah. So yeah.
Were you guys brought up in London? Or was it...
Yeah, London. I'm East London, so there's a lot. I know there'll be a lot of West Ham fans that are watching. You should be a West Ham fan, but I was smart.
Yeah, I was the same.
You bring the game. It would have helped. And you were also.
I was Leytonstone, East London. So I was.
I was, near Chelsea. So
Okay. It was West.
Apparently very posh. Lebanese, they like to show off. They got no dosh, but they want to show off. It's crazy. Now, really, I just want one word really to describe your manager, Arteta. What's the word for Arteta?
So look, we've got a group chat, an Arsenal fans in Dubai group chat, and I they get on to me for defending him. Some people would say too much. I think I've been vindicated now. I would say my words now would be like, vindication. I think there's been a lot on him. I think if you're going to assess it just from a football point of view, maybe 6 years is a little bit too long before we got that league title. I definitely thought we were good enough for value for more, but there was so much more. The job was so much more. I think Arsenal fans in Dubai doesn't happen without a Mikel Arteta. He's brought the fan base together across the world. I genuinely do believe that. The culture of the club was very rotten. As much as we love Arsenal, I think there was a big gap between the supporters and the club. He's helped to bridge that, and I think he's just understood what it means to be Arsenal. Emery before that, and managers before. Well, no, obviously Arsenal, but Emery in that in-between period, I don't think he really understood what it meant to be Arsenal, and I think Mikel Arteta's understood that, and he's probably gone the long way about it, but he's gone the right way about it. So yeah.
No, I would agree. I don't think he went the long way. I think he had a mountain to climb. It was a steep hill. What's the word for you for Arteta, Tom?
Prepared. If I had one word, it'd be prepared.
Right.
when we had all of the drama with him, because we obviously needed a new manager, a new direction. It didn't work, the Emery project. I was at Emery's last game, and I was sitting upstairs at Arsenal Stadium, and most of us weren't watching the game anymore. I think it was Frankfurt. But most of us weren't watching the game anymore. We just had conversations with ourselves because you just knew it was going to end. And I think that pretty much summed it up. We'd lost all interest. However, Arteta was meant to be manager first time round, and they chose not to because of his inexperience. So they went with someone more experienced. Makes sense. Sensible decision. When they then changed their mind and went with Arteta the second time round, it struck me reading about him as a manager, as a tactician beforehand, how even his wife said, look, he'd go away and he'd be putting things on the wall and planning for games he wasn't even managing. And for me, that level of preparation, that level of detail is what it takes to be a modern manager, not just in any setting, in any league, with any kind of financial burdens or constraints or abundance, whatever happens, whatever your budget, it makes such a difference when you're competing against such a behemoth of Man City and Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola is a giant of football. He's changed how football plays. So that's your main competition from the get-go. In your first ever job. This is his first ever full manager's job. And that's what he decided to take on. So the reason my word is prepared is, he came into that, when you watch that first interview back, because it's been playing a few times now, he's won the league. He's so composed. He's so clear in his understanding of what needs to be done in that moment. That for me is kind of the template that I think a lot of other clubs will look at now, because being prepared started then. It didn't start now when he was winning. It started all the way back then. He always knew, like you mentioned before, there was a mountain to climb. He knew exactly where he was on that mountain. Whereas I think a lot of people sometimes think they're higher up than they are.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of other clubs and I think they think, don't worry, another 2-3 years I'll be there. It's a very different thing of knowing what there is to do and knowing where you are on that journey. And I think Arteta knew he was at the bottom.
And just going off of that word prepared as well, like being Arsene Wenger Arsenal fans, we could sometimes be a bit snobbish. Yeah, set pieces, that's not really for us. Yeah. There's little fine margins, dark arts, yeah, not really for us. But those are the things when you've got Roman Abramovich back Chelsea, and then you've got Abu Dhabi back Man City. Those small margins are the things that get you there, and just how he hasn't. There's no part of our team that he hasn't really thought about or tried to make better. You know, how many years was it? Like if Arsenal just had a centre back, if Arsenal just had a DM, if Arsenal just had there's so many parts where he's just gone out. It's like, no, we're going to do this. This is what needs to be done, and we're going to do it. So, yeah, that's what I've really enjoyed. It's no more of that, or that kind of way of thinking of we're above that or we're beyond that. No, set pieces, we are going to work it. We're going to be the best at it. I love that.
A friend of mine, he's in London right now, big Gunner fan. He's really excited about today. I told him that this team matches the mindset of Arteta as a set-piece specialist, as a midfielder, preparedness, seeing the whole pitch. So this is Arteta's team. It's no longer Wenger's team. And how dare Henry and Ashley Cole and talk about this team? You had your moment, window closed. This is now the new Gunner. Your top 3 players of Arsenal this season, who would they be? Oh,
it's really tough because. So again, come on. It's tough because I know as well. My friends, if anyone's watching this, I have been banging on about there needing to be a star in this team, and I kept saying throughout the season, I have seen championship winning teams, and there's always that person who goes to a level that no one else can get to. Salah, Haaland, De Bruyne, Henry, Hazard, like you name it, there's always been that type. But I think Arsenal have done it in a different way. I don't think there has been that player. It's been very much a collective effort. So that's why it's hard to choose 3, because I feel like it's been very collective. But if I had to,
I want your favourites.
Personal favourites. Yeah. Oh, Bukayo Saka, number 1, easily. Like this kid, I saw something the other day, and it's like he's all of our sons. Like I have a level of protection and love for this person who I've never even met. He doesn't know I exist, But if anyone, I can criticise him. I can say that he's not been at his best this season. But if anyone else wants to say it, it might be a fight. Like Bukayo Saka, I think where he's taken this team, how he's made it his personal. You know, you see the tweets of Arsenal fans, you deserve better. Since he's broken into this team, he's been our ray of shining light, and he's taken that from. There are plenty of people who do that, right? There are plenty of young academy graduates who break into teams who show something, and then they don't go on to fulfill that. And he's done that, and I think that is very, 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 very rare to find within any kind of club or within football generally. So, yeah, Bukayo Saka, absolutely.
He's at the top.
At the top.
Tom's been waiting. You think of the next
Yeah, go on.
Tom, you're going to give Saka 2 or are you going to...
I've got my top 3.
All right, here we go.
I've got, in no particular order as well, because I think it's hard to rank them.
Don't worry, I'm going to order them. Don't worry.
I don't think you can start anywhere but by starting at David Raya for just the pressure that he started at the club under. People asking why he was there in the first place when we had a really good goalkeeper. We had a first team goalkeeper and he was brought in to a lot of question marks, and the standards that he has made for himself season on season have been outstanding. Not just the fact that he can play out from the back, and what else? It's everything else. It's the leadership, it's the trust. I haven't seen... I grew up around David Seaman, and while David Seaman had no real flair to his personality apart from his ponytail, he was just so calm all of the time. And now we see interviews with people like Ian Wright talking about him in training, where it was like it would be a victory if you beat him in training, because he was so reliable. He'd catch every cross. I think that's also why he's memed so much for the very few mistakes he's made, because he didn't make any. So that's the kind of heart of what makes a solid, reliable goalkeeper in Arsenal's history. And then you fast forward now to look at David Raya, and every catch, I'm looking at where he's going to pass it before the crosses come in. That's the confidence I have in him. And you can see it on the back line. Everybody has the same faith. I don't even believe goals have gone in when they've gone in, because I'm like, something must have gone wrong. It must be offside. Something had happened, because that's how much I expect him to get a hand on everything. So
you saw how they reacted when that Wolves goal went in. Like everyone was, big pressure drop right there. You're number 2 now. You guys should be on a podcast.
I've been trying to get him on. We've been trying to set one up for a while.
I used to have one in the UK, and I've stopped since I've been here. But
we want to set one up.
You set up with us. You can have your own thing. I think you put it on our channel.
Lovely.
Don't worry about it. Renell, who's number 2?
My number 2, William Saliba. Too many times watching Arsenal. I grew up on the famous back four, and you had Tony Adams, and then it became obviously Sol Campbell. And then after that, I think there was a period of a weakness. And do you know what? Sorry, I'm going to cheat. I can't do it. You know what I'm going to say, right?
Yeah, do.
You can't do one without the other. It's got to be Saliba and Gabriel. And that might be cheating, but I can't separate the two. When you've got those two types of defenders, everything becomes easier. I played in defence when I played as a kid, played as a centre-back, and then moved to right-back. And it's a tough position because one mistake and that's it. Like, you can cost the team. And those two are they're phenomenal. They are phenomenal. And look, all it takes is a couple more trophies and they're going to be in some conversations that a lot of rival fans will not like. But I'm sorry, they are that good. They are that good.
They already have the most important trophy in the Premier League, given the stature of the Premier League today.
Yeah.
For me, honestly, the Champions League is beneath. That's just my personal opinion. I want to ask you something. You mentioned Sol Campbell and Tony Adams. No love for Martin Keown?
Oh no, I do love Martin Keown.
Really?
I do, yeah. I think he. But when he left, I think a part of Arsenal kind of died. That kind of never say die. That kind of, and I see a lot of Gabriel in. I see a lot of Martin Keown in Gabriel. He doesn't forget things. Things matter to Gabriel.
Yeah.
He sees it as a personal.
What's the English word for grinta? You know grinta? The word
no.
Grinta. Is there an English word
like grit? Like
grit? Grinta is like it's got that grit.
It's cojones. It's just
cojones.
I don't know what it. And we've lacked it for so many years.
Battle scarred, I would say, is like a. To your point about Martin Keown, I think Martin Keown isn't a player that people would want to go and watch. Martin Keown is a defender's defender.
Yeah.
So he's talked about in the game by people. He's talked about in the game by people having his ability to mark a player. He was like, you couldn't put a postage stamp between you. That's how closely Martin would mark you. He was gritty. If anything, Martin would be the one player from our history that would fit into our set piece routines superbly now, because you're not getting an inch against him. And he was quite smart as well. He studied his opponents. He wasn't blessed with pace massively, apart from in his younger years, but he had a really good talent of knowing how to play against every player. If you're quick, I'm going to do this. If you're strong, I'm going to do this. He knew it. He knew everyone's background. I think that grit, like you mentioned before, that level of just fight. You can't teach that level of fight. It has to be within you. So that's the kind of mental resilience that he has that I think would fit into Arteta's squad right now.
I would say the same thing as Ronell, like Saliba, Gabriel would round off your top three.
So the funny thing is, they weren't in my top three.
No way!
For very different reasons. I mean, but it goes back to this point. We're such a unit now. It's really hard to say anyone above anyone, because Gabriel and Saliba have been superb. We'd have probably had another Premier League title if Saliba wasn't injured 2 years ago for that last run of 10 games. That's how good he's been. So I'll rattle off my other two because it's quite a quick point on them. But I think Declan Rice has been at the heart of what's taken us from being a stable club to challenging so quickly. And even though I don't think people looked at his performances and said, well, what has he done that's been outstanding since he's taken those free kicks? But it's everything else. He does absolutely everything else. If we needed a centre-back, he'll be there. If we need a centre-forward, he'll be there. If we need someone to fill in at left wing or right back in a game when clearly the game didn't need him to be right back, he will go and do that job without question.
And that doesn't even take into account the stuff he does off the field as well. You hear about the way he talks in meetings and
the leadership. There was a point made by Josh Kroenke recently about when you buy a player of that cost and question marks are raised, you're not just buying what a player does on the pitch, you're buying everything else. You're buying how he brings people in. It's something close to my heart. When I played football, the best standard I played at, I'll be really honest, I was the worst person in the squad on ability. And I wasn't a bad player, but just because everyone was so good. But the one thing I could do off the pitch was arrange the drink up or the fines or everything else. And as much as it wasn't the job on the pitch, it helped. It was cohesion in our squad. And I think there was always a need for that kind of person in a squad, especially if you're a leader and as good as you are, because that brings you together when you're defeated. It brings you together when there's like infighting, which happens all the time, even when you're winning. People might argue over who takes a penalty, or that happens a lot, especially at the top level where everyone wants to be the best. Egos play a massive part. You need someone like Rice that settles the group and reminds them. And it didn't surprise me in the slightest when we lost at the Etihad. And he was on the pitch and said, it's not done. Because that is what that kind of player does. I've been there and I've shouted at our players, it's not done. 90 minutes down, we're 2 goals down, it's not done. Even if you know it is, you have to believe it. Even if that you're ludicrous to think that. And that's what, that level of drive is what drags you over the line. And that's what makes people champions.
Yeah. Were you a midfielder when you were playing?
I was a midfielder, yeah.
Midfield, centre back.
Centre back, and then I wasn't tall enough, so I moved to right back, right wing, centre mid.
Were you a centre back because you like to deny people scoring goals? Is that you get pleasure?
No, my dad was the centre back. That's the only reason why.
That's the reason he forced you?
My dad was the centre back, and he ran the team that I played in. So
that makes sense.
Yeah,
no choice.
I couldn't header at all. But anyone running that way, I could catch them. I had the Saliba last man tackle thing down to a T. So yeah,
someone back.
I was a goalie, and then they moved me to centre back. I took real pleasure in denying strikers. I
hated it, to be honest. As soon as I got to right back, I was like, that's it, I'm off. And that's started bombing up and down.
I like to rugby right back. That's the thing. If you okay, so I'm going to ask really kind of a lame question here.
Go ahead.
This is like going to be real stuff, right? If you had one choice this season to win the Premier League or Champions League, you only win one, which one would it be?
Don't ask me that.
Impossible.
All right, okay, there's not an easy answer. I think after this season, the answer will always be the Champions League. I think there is something about getting over the line in the Premier League that needed to be done this season. I think if we didn't, it would always be that nagging question of, can this team do it? Can they get over the line in a league? I think the Champions League, if you stay in and around it, eventually at some point it will fall for you. When you look at Chelsea, even when they won it, they didn't win it at their best teams, at the best times.
No.
Man United, when you look at some of the times when they won it, it's luck and things that fall for you.
Did you see that Liverpool team at Istanbul?
Yeah,
Did you see the
right.
documentary
There you
on
go.
Netflix?
There you go.
Shit, team, I remember now. Jersey fucking.
It's not great, but it falls for you when it falls for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, the obvious answer is both. I do think moving forward, it's the one thing missing from our club. A club of our stature should have a Champions League. Forest have one. I hate to say it, Villa have one, even though they won it years and years ago when they played.
It reminded me of the Europa League.
But they've got it, and I think it's the one thing missing from our club to complete it. So this season, the Premier League, I think it needs to be done. We have to get over the line in that. Moving forward, Champions League.
I'm with you on the answer. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arsenal notoriously have not been great in Europe. So because of that, I still think it's the Premier League. I would have taken the Premier League, but only because with this squad, I just think we'd get to another final.
Yeah.
If that's what the question was. But the real truth is, we've come so close in Europe for years. Olympiacos in 2000, Fiorentina in, is it 98?
8 at Wembley.
At Wembley.
Gabriel shooter broke my heart.
Shooter. It was, obviously I don't even want to talk about Paris 2006, but since 94, which was the Cup Winners' Cup.
Wayne Bridge.
Which was, Wayne Bridge, don't even get me started.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Look at that.
but
Showed up the Fiorentina. Sorry to
it's been but it's been such a. The last time we won in Europe on the big stage was 1994. I don't remember it, but there's a very good podcast called The Tuesday Club, which is Alan Davies, a Arsenal fan for years and years, but they talk a lot about the older times. Really good podcast for anyone that wants to know what supporting Arsenal was like in the 80s and the 90s. Worth a listen. But one of the things they always talked about was the fact that that Parma team that we played against was a really strong side. They had Espria, they had Zola, who then made himself a legend in the Premier League. Really strong side, and that Arsenal team fought their way through to a win, to a 2-0 win against a really, really tough side.
Yeah, Thuram.
Thuram,
Thuram was in it. That's it. Yeah, Thuram was in the Cannavaro, I think, was playing. So, really good side. However, that's the last time, and that's been that was 94. So, Jesus, that's 22 years. 32
years.
Jesus, that's been so. When it comes to Europe, that's the kind of memory that's older than a lot of Arsenal fans that tweet about us today. So. When it comes to that, I think we're always expected to fail in Europe, and the Premier League is important. That's not saying I don't want to win the Champions League at all. I think it's not expected, and that's what will make it even sweeter if we do win today.
I have to say, you guys have been superstars so far. I'm really picturing how it's going to be on the video.
On the pod.
I have to say though that we did a podcast with the Chelsea and the Arsenal guy, right? One of the Arsenal guys who regularly takes here. And the Chelsea guy said directly to his face, you can check out the reel on YouTube, by the way. He said, you're not deserving of the title. And he explained to him why. What do you have to respond to this type of question? Hey, this is football. I have to ask this question.
I've said this, and we're going to get a lot of this, right? Because we're Arsenal, we haven't won the league in 22 years. People don't like it. What I would say back is it just makes it sweeter. You see my friends who support rival teams and they've come to me and they've gone, fair play. Congratulations, enjoy it. We'll see you next season. I don't really have a lot to say back to that. You see the fans that have been bickering. Arsenal got 13 decisions from VAR. You didn't deserve it. Set piece FC. It makes it even better. I genuinely don't have anything to say. Whether you deserve it, whether we don't deserve it or not. Premier League titles at Colney.
I mean, they said that. They said in the reel that everyone hates the fact that Arsenal won. We can't believe it. She asked me, why does everyone hate Arsenal? I said, I don't know really what the reason is. What do you think is the reason? Tom, what do you think is the reason?
I think this is because we were so insufferable 22 years ago when we won the league unbeaten. It's just embedded in everyone's minds. No, I think, look, I think the real answer to this question as a whole, which isn't talked about enough, is we were a mess. We've been a mess for a long time. We haven't had the financial backing to get ourselves out of this mess quicker than some other clubs have been. So we've had to do it the hard way. We've had to dig our own holes and refill them and fix our own houses. This has been a DIY project. We even brought in a manager that's never had a job before. So a full-time job. This is his first ever full-time gig. So when you look at that, look at all the banter we've sustained, and then all of a sudden we're challenging and we're doing things right, all of a sudden the things to point at you become less a critique on you and more a critique on their own mess of football clubs. So I look at Chelsea Football Club, who have spent nearly 2 billion total, amortized by the way, I think I'll nicely add, that look further away from a title in, 9 years has it almost been?
Yeah.
The year after Leicester, than they ever have been before. They changed ownership, changed tactic, changed buying strategy, and still got nowhere near it, and aren't even in Europe next season. And then you look at what we've done at Arsenal, it's almost impossible to look at a success that has no other thing to point at and look at it and say, well, why have we not done the exact same thing? All they've done is gone back to basics, build a culture where there previously was one lost, and build a squad that is together and keep them together and make them believe that they can win it. That's what we basically have, and add that in with everything else.
There's two things that I would add to that. I think, firstly, everyone knows an Arsenal fan, which is why you don't want Arsenal to win the league. Everyone knows an Arsenal fan. Yeah. Does everyone know a Chelsea fan? Does everyone know a City fan? Arsenal, in terms of culture and how big the fan base is, especially across London, which is obviously the capital of the country. I think it's to go 22 years of having stuff to throw at that fan base and then to have that ripped away from you, that's a lot of reason why people don't want Arsenal to win. The other thing I would say is probably a lot of Premier League rules, actual rules set in stone that say Chelsea and City didn't deserve to win their league. So we'll leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. But yeah,
coming up, their court decision.
Well, we're waiting to.
Why do you think he left?
We'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
He doesn't want to back.
Allegedly, nothing has been confirmed.
He even went there. He's gone.
Nothing been confirmed, but allegedly, I mean, some of this Chelsea stuff has been confirmed, right? I mean, Hazard was on his way to Arsenal before agent fees and allegedly, and certain things happened. So, yeah, I would say there's some Premier League rules that say that Chelsea don't deserve to win the league. So, we'll leave it at that.
One last one. The Aston Villa fans, I asked them.
How they made it onto this?
The Europa League, they had to go. It was a great night. We're expecting a great one here today also. I asked them, Arsenal might win the Champions League. What's your message to them? They were very congratulatory.
Okay.
Congratulations. Because actually, we asked the West Ham fans, not the Aston Villa fans. They went there last week for the relegation.
Yeah.
They want an English team, a London team, to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
West Ham have been relegated to the Championship.
Yeah.
What's your message to West Ham?
Look,
back.
Okay. I've been backwards and forwards with a lot of West Ham fans this season. I had one of my best friends is a West Ham fan. When we played City, he went out and bought a Man City shirt, put Adebayor on the back, number 9. But in my heart of hearts, I'm an East London boy, and it hates to see where West Ham have ended up. They are a big club. They're a Premier League club, and they should be in the Premier League. I think there are a lot of problems that don't get resolved without a resolution with their ownership. When you're talking about Arsenal and how divided we've been, I think that West Ham fan base is huge, and it needs someone to bring them all together and moving in the same direction. I hope they come back at the first chance. Nothing is guaranteed in that league, though. Championship is a very horrible place, and it's a very tough league, very unpredictable league. I do hope that they bounce back up, but also to the West Ham fans who gave me stick, I'll leave it at that.
Do you have a message for them, Tom?
I've got a lot of love for West Ham fans for this reason. I think West Ham as a whole. Again, I was born and raised in East London, Whipcross Hospital. I've got a lot of love for the West Ham fans that I grew up around, mainly because of the love of tradition that they brought through. The West Ham fans I grew up with always used to say that they won the World Cup in 1966 because so many of their first team players were in it. But their love for their club has carried through even on the downtimes, even when they were in the Championship and when they've had terrible issues with ownership, as has already been mentioned. And I think the important thing around a lot of football as a whole is we will probably not be here in 60 years, 70 years time, right? But our football clubs still will. We hope they will. And there'll be people having these conversations then. And they'll be looking back to these moments and saying, yeah, but remember when we won the league in 2026, and remember when we did this. And the point is, that level of history is so important for football clubs. And I think that's what I really have a lot of respect for, is that these clubs that have been around for such a long time, there's something in that, because that transfers into you. I feel the energy of, I don't know, the Arsenal fans of the 80s and of the 90s that had that same feeling, that same anxiousness where they can't think when they're at work. And they don't know, well, it wouldn't have been email, but it would have been something else that they were doing. We feel the same. We carry that feeling with us. Yeah. We carry it through the ages. And that's something I would say with West Ham is that they've carried a lot of this. The legacy of who that has been at their club has carried on. And they'll fight through it. They'll get through to whatever happens. However long they're in the Championship, that doesn't change. The history of their club doesn't change. And the fans I like anyway, of that club will bounce back, even if it takes them longer than other people think. They've got that in them. So
the other thing I will say, and again, talking to a lot of West Ham fans, I've kind of poo-pooed this having moved to the Emirates, but the stadium needs sorting. I know how much that bothers them, and it's pretty much a representation of where their club has gone. Upton Park was down the road for me. My first ever game was at a West Ham match. Kids for a Kid, the Chicken Run, that's their history, and it's been ripped away from them. And what they have, it's 61,000, 62,000, whatever it is, but it doesn't represent them. Yeah. That needs to be sorted. What that stadium is and what it represents to them. Yeah, that needs to be sorted as well.
East London as a whole and West Ham as a football club are full of soul. And that stadium is absolutely soulless.
Yeah.
So,
Vinny, you said they have the soul. Both of you, the rest of the fans here, have heart. So it's a great combination. It's nice to see that the Arsenal fans are consistent, because last time we're here, it was all heart from the Arsenal fans. So you're going to bring the heart today?
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's nothing else.
We have the tripod set up.
Absolutely. Right?
You'll see us there.
I said this was a free hit, and then coming up the stairs, I said it to Tom as I walked in. I haven't been able to eat because it's starting to kick in now. It's the Champions League final.
That's since 2006. Right?
2006, 20 years ago. I remember exactly where I was for the last one. One of the worst days of my life for lots of different reasons that I won't go into. So I'm hoping for redemption 20 years on and finally bringing big ears to the Emirates.
You guys were both in London in 06? Or
Yeah. East London. I remember the day very, very vividly. I thought we were going to do it. When you're winning, you start looking at the time. It was like, get to 60 minutes, get to 70 minutes, get to 80. When you get to 80, you start going minute by minute. And I thought, if we get to 82, we're right here. And what was it, 83, Belletti?
I don't blame Lehman for taking out, what was it, Eto?
No, I blame Almunia. Absolutely.
To this day.
I blame Almunia.
Did you suffer with Almunia?
It's a very easy one. Almunia, I blame him. Both goals.
Near posts, just,
Anyway,
near post. Anyway.
New story today, new chapter today.
New last, we say. So, one last thing, and I hate to ask you this, all right? Can you ask the people to subscribe to our channel? For the love of God? I beg you, please. I really, reflective football.
Reflective football. Like, comment, subscribe, do what you need to. This is where real football conversations happen. Get on it.
Reflective football, like, subscribe, do it now. Oi, do it now.
Now.
Wow.
Or we'll win the league again and again and again.
How did we pluck you guys?
You picked the right two. You definitely did.